Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today we're going to have a little bit of a talk on snowblowers. I've got my snowblower here. It's from 1993. This is an MTD snowblower. It's actually made in Canada. I don't think we make any snowblowers in Canada anymore, but I have to fix this snowblower because back about maybe 15 to 20 years ago I put a shutoff valve on it and it's starting to leak. So I'm going to put a new shutoff valve on it, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I did to get this snowblower to last 30 years. Now I am going to buy a brand new snowblower in the future, and I'll ask you that question at the end of the video. But let's get over here and let's take a look and see what the problem is. Okay, so I'm getting all set up to take this valve off, and you can see right here when it's running like it just leaks out something fierce. And so I'm going to replace that. Now if you take a good look at that, you can tell that's not a valve for gasoline. That was an old valve I had hanging around, and it was actually for water. So I mean, I'm going to change it. I'm going to put a new valve on there, and if we take a look underneath, you can see this is where the fuel comes in here. So I'm going to shut the valve off, and I'm going to disconnect all this and let the gasoline run in this little bit of a container there. And then we're going to change it over. So let's go over to the bench and I'll show you exactly what kind of valve I'm going to put on. Okay, so I went in my little parts bin there and I found a valve, and I just put some white highlighter on it just to show you that there is a direction of flow. And this is the one here. Now it's 1/4 inch, and I got like 10 of these valves, including you know, the two clips. I don't know if they're going to be any good or not, and I'm going to put a new piece of hose on, and I'm going with this type of hose here, and hopefully the line is 1/4 inch, because if it's 5/16 I'm going to have to go with gear clamps to tighten her down. But this is the valve I'm going to put on here, and let's get to it right now. Okay, wouldn't you know it, it starts to leak more as soon as I start filming. Okay, so I figured I'd take this one off here. And this one here goes over to the carburetor side. Take this cap off. See if I can just take this up. Okay, I'm going to need a little persuasion here. That's the thing about the gear clamps, is they really destroy the hoses. Oh man! Like, this hose has been on for like way over 20 years, so. Oh, get at it! Oh. Okay, let me try the screwdriver again. Oh yeah, the fight's real. Let me see if I can pull it off. Get it! There. Okay. Now, is this 1/4 inch? It looks pretty close to it. So what I'm going to do, stick this in here, open up the valve, there, and just let it run till it's all emptied out, and then I'll come back when it's emptied out. But I think what I got to do after it's emptied out is we'll come back and I'll have taken all of this off. That's the best thing to do. Okay, here we go. I put the valve on the one side here when I use their clamp, and I'll put it in this hose, and I believe just by me looking at this, it does look like a 1/4 inch line, but it's had a fitting on there with a gear clamp. So I'm going to go back with the gear clamp here and I'll use the gear clamp on this side. Now, I didn't cut the hose yet because, well, I've been down that road before where I think I got it cut to the right length, and of course, you're too short. So, that should be tight enough there. Now, we got to get it to come, and to go in like this, right into this side here. So how far down do I want to make that loop? Well, I don't want to make the loop so long, but I figure this should be about it right here. So I'll cut the line here. Okay, there we go. I'll slip the little thing on. And then we'll just stick this up here. You know, that goes on like a pretty tight, nice tight fit already. Now this is silicone hose, and I've had very good success with this silicone hose rather than the regular black fuel line. Let's see if I can get that up there. There, that should do it right about there. So I think that'll sit just like there fine. So I'm going to pour the gas back in, and then we'll see exactly if this thing is going to leak or not. So I got it in the off position right there. I'll turn it in the on just to make sure that it's flowing. And I don't like this little bit of a kink here already. So yeah, see how a little bit of might be a little bit of a kink there? But maybe not once I put the fuel in there. I hope not. Okay, let's get to putting the gas in. Okay, so I'm not going to pour all the gas in because of course I have to drain it all out if it starts to leak. I'll just pour in that much. That's good enough to see if there's going to be any leaks. And well, looks like there's no leaks. So far so good. I'm liking that, and I'm liking that a lot. Okay, let's pour a little bit more in. Well, looks like it's all holding. And you know for sure when I pour the rest of it, it's going to start to leak, right? Better not. It's amazing how a little bit of gas in a small shop like this, I've got to take everything outside, and because it'll smell like crazy in here. Okay, so let's come back, and we're going to discuss some tips on how to keep this machine in tip-top shape so anybody can have a snow machine that lasts 30 years. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and it's bone dry, so I'm happy with that repair. Okay, how do you get a snow blower to last you 30 years? First of all, you got to spend a lot of money on it if you want to last 30 years. These are not the original rims or the original tires. Them come off a rotor tiller. And yeah, the tires that come on snow machines, well, they suck. And you're lucky if you can get 8-9 years out of them. You know, they're just horrible. Now that's what they were like back in 1993. They're probably even more horrible now. Okay, so let's move on to some tips here. Okay, so here's the skid shoes down the bottom. I just finished repairing this, and I used to weld the piece on the bottom here all the time. Now I've stopped welding anymore, and if you take a good look there, you can see what I've done. All I did was get a piece of scrap metal and put 2 rivets, one in each end. Just a scrap piece of, looks about maybe 20 gauge. So when they wear down, all I have to do is just drill out the rivets, fire in a couple of more. So when you're taking a look at a machine like this, yeah, the biggest concern is going to be rust, because check that out. And I imagine the newer machines today, they're no better. I mean, like, I'm using this where there's lots of salt. I mean, if you're down in Florida, I'm thinking, well, they don't use salt on the roads down in Florida, so your snow machine's not going to last a long time without all that salt, right? So if we just take a look here, I'll show you the other skid shoe here. And you could see how this one here, it hasn't quite run through yet. You know, you can see I weld on a piece on the bottom. It hasn't ran through yet. So if you want to get the machine to last a long time, well, I change the oil every year. And that's probably the only thing you can really do on these. They don't have no filters. There's no fuel injection. There's no nothing on these engines. This is an old Tecumseh. I believe it's a 5-horse. And how big of a snowblower do you need? Well, it depends on how big of a snowfall you have. But for me, 5-horse is fine. Now, if you want to take a look, let's take a look at that thing sitting on top. That's an old V8 juice can. So what's the purpose of that? Well, I'll tell you something. There's the muffler. When I first got this machine, I thought the people at MTD, well, they're not too good at engineering. So I decided to fabricate this V8 juice can on top. And so what does it do? Well, without it, after I had finished using this machine, there'd always be snow on top there. It would melt down and freeze the mechanisms on the carburetor. And the carburetor's right inside that box there. And I thought, what a ridiculous idea to put that muffler like that. So when you put the machine away, there's always going to be snow sitting around on top, right? And it would melt down through there, freeze on top of the carburetor, so none of the linkages would move the next time you went to start it up. So I thought, well, there's my idea right there. And that's been on there for 30 years. I don't even know if you can get V8 juice cans with a metal can anymore, or a tin can. And this is a pretty basic unit. You know, it's nothing fancy. You know, it's all mechanical. And for the money, I'm thinking, back then in '93, I paid about $900 for this. Around $800-900. Can you imagine that? Now, take a look at snowblowers today. Well, a lot of them are a lot more than $800-900, depending on what you're gonna get for quality and, you know, and where it's built. So let's get to that here, because I want to ask everybody. I'm going to buy a new snowblower at the end of this year. And the only thing I got for criteria is it's got to be assembled in North America. I'm not buying none of these Chinese stuff. So let me just put the camera down here and let's have a little bit of a chat. Okay, so does anybody got any good recommendations of a snowblower built in Canada or the USA? Because I'm not buying one that's assembled in China. No. Them days, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't care if I got to pay more for it. The price is not the problem. It's where it's built that's the problem. And so I did look at Ariens. Ariens is assembled in USA. Toro's, I'm not too sure what about Toro. I think it's assembled some in the USA, some is not in the USA. But pretty much all the snowblowers that I've looked at so far, well, seems all the engines are made in China. No matter which one you want to look at, they're all made in China. So I'm not too sure if they actually manufacture any. Well, I think Briggs & Stratton is still made in the USA, but I'm really going to stay away from Briggs & Stratton snowblowers because, well, if you want any parts for Briggs & Stratton, you got to go to Briggs & Stratton, and you just get hosed right through the ringer, right? So I mean, I got to have parts availability. That's one thing I liked about MTD is they had parts availability everywhere. You get parts, you know, anywhere, right? And if you've got Briggs & Stratton snowblower, nah, it's a little different deal there. So it's parts availability, and I want it built Canada, USA. Any recommendations about somebody who's had a unit for more than just 6 months, you know, like a couple of years, and the thing hasn't just fallen apart, and you know, that kind of stuff. But the years of making good, high-quality equipment, well, they're not all in the past. They have some great equipment today that's built, you know, and of course, a lot of the stuff is, you know, assembled in one country, but a lot of the parts are from all over the world. I'm fine with that, but I just want the manufacturing in Canada or the USA because there's minimum standards where if it's built in these wing wang factories somewhere, well, there's no minimum standards of nothing as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, I think I'd rather go with made in the USA, made in Canada. If not, c'est la vie, and I'll be going back to a shovel because that's just the way she's going to go. So thanks for joining me here today. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see something different from a little bit of a different kind of guy. Cheers.